In the beginning of the movie we see a girl Anne in her room, who was praying by closing eyes. She was very scared, then suddenly her mom knocks on the door, but Anne doesn't open the door. So her mother gets so angry that she starts banging her head on the door, from which it becomes clear that Anne was scared of her mom. After this the scene goes a few years ahead where Anne has grown up, and she has become a sister who is also called Nun. At this time she was sitting near a doctor, which tells Anne that your mom was a very nice woman. When you were a child, she often used to come to me, and she used to take care of me a lot, like she used to comb my hair, but suddenly her behavior became very strange. Singing the same song started hurting me. Her behavior towards me has changed, and she did not do this for her life, but a strange voice inside her used to force her to do so, because in reality she was possessed. She was possessed by a devil. After that it is shown that in 1835 a school was established for exorcisms. The number of people who were possessed by the devil was increasing. Now it is decided to keep those people who are possessed in the same school. All sisters and nuns will take care of them, but they will stay away from exorcisms, because all the fathers and priests will end their possession by teaching exorcisms, by which they will be completely cured. Now we see Anne, who used to live in a big church, but now she also comes to this school. Although she is a nun, she has nothing to do with exorcisms, but still she is very interested in learning exorcisms. While she was in the class, the doctor she was talking to was telling about exorcisms and its methods. There were some patients here whose attention taken by Anne. Some time ago another patient also came here whose name was Natalie, who was just a 10-year-old girl. Anne talks to her, jokes with her, due to which that girl is very happy, and she likes Anne very much. Now at night when Anne was in her room, she hears someone calling her, with which he feels some noises. Anne goes out but there is no one there. Then when she was roaming in the area with patients, then she hears the cry of a child several times. She was not able to understand anything, that after all where is this voice is coming from. But then suddenly Natalie appears in front of her, seeing whom she is very surprised, wondering how she came out, because all the patients are always kept locked in their rooms. And then she talks to her a little and sends her inside the room again. And then when she was coming to the lower area, she again heard someone's call. Then she starts thinking about why she is hearing this voice, because she had actually recognized these voices a little bit. After this she passes by a class, where the head father was giving classes to all the new fathers and priests, were telling them all about exorcisms. Then he shows a video of a girl here and tells that she was possessed and exorcisms did not work on her, due to which she died, because the devil's possession on him was too deep. Now Anne also comes and secretly sits in this class, because she is already interested in it. Father sees him but doesn't say anything. Father further explains that when we go in front of a possessed person, in a way we enter a battlefield. That's why we have to take full care, and also have to keep all our attacks ready. We always have to remember some things, because the devil and his companions always try to divert our attention. They try to mislead us by playing different tricks, so we have to face them very well. And similarly we try to cure a possessed person by doing exorcisms, which doesn't happen very often, and that possessed person gets killed. After this Anne is checking the file and recordings of this girl, in which that girl had also told about some voice, that I often hear that voice. Now we see the scene of an old time, where Anne was telling the doctor that when my mom was possessed, she could also hear a sound, and used to talk to her only one thing, that I want to take your daughter Anne, not you, because she is special, who will fight against the devils. Then we see that Anne wants to see recordings of other people also, but none sitting there tells him that the file you saw is just an only outside, and apart from this I didn't show you anything strictly. Now the head nun explains to Anne that you will never go to father's class again, because exorcism is taught there, so stay away from it. From which Anne says exorcism is done only by men, whereas women can also do it, to which the nun clearly refuses that whatever it is, but you will not go there. Then Anne has to agree with him. Here there was also the head father in whose class Anne gone. They tell that if Anne wants to learn then let her learn, in which the nun says that after learning exorcism, She will face danger from which I want to save her, because I want to protect her. After this, Anne is talking with an older patient, but then suddenly he starts singing the song of Anne's mom. She gets upset hearing that, but then that old man attacks her, and grabs Anne. She was trying to escape from him, but the patient himself becomes unconscious. The nun and the head father were talking to the priest about this, on which the priest says that the possession has started again only because of Anne's presence. That's why the old man was possessed by the devil, which means it is very dangerous. To which the nun says that if it is so, then we should send Anne again to the big church from where she came. On which the father tells her that there will be no need for it. The devil does not leave the chase after walking up, so I want him to be kept here and taught exorcism. On which the nun says that no, this should not happen strictly, because it is against the custom that has been going on for years. It is certain that no woman should strictly do exorcism. Father says that we will not teach her to misuse anyone. Just this much will teach her that she should protect herself, because I have realized that she has a very close relation. Hearing which the nun immediately says, what is the big deal in this? We all have a very close relation with God. On which father says that he is not related to God, but she has a very close relation with the devil. Then the next day Anne starts going to exorcism class. Everyone was unhappy about this except a father who had become very close friends with Anne. After the class is over, Father takes them to the top floor to show them a glimpse of exorcism. It was a place where people with the most dangerous possessions were kept in a room. Natalie was kept in the room near which they had come, because her possession had become too much. Then the head father decides to send other father who were learning exorcism to this room to perform exorcism, and tell him that the one on whom you are going to perform exorcism is the most dangerous devil, and take special care of this thing, that she knows everyone's secret, their shame, and all their sins, which she then uses against the person in whom he is, and by doing so he breaks his soul. After that he goes inside that room to perform exorcism, and he start reciting his magical spells, but he have no effect on the possessed Natalie. On the contrary, she starts scaring him, and attacks him. After which she jumped straight to the ceiling. The glasses of this room were such that nothing could be seen from outside, when the people standing outside could see inside. Anne was standing outside watching all this. Then Natalie comes to the window and starts looking outside at Anne, which became possible because at this time she was in the possession of the devil. Here she starts scaring Anne so that she puts her hands on her eyes, and insects start coming out of her hands. Then that devil says to Anne, "You let me come inside you," meaning that you let me possess yourself. Then immediately that father comes inside the room, because the matter had now gone out of bounds. But possessed Natalie attacks him too. After which now Anne comes inside, and she starts talking to her. She says take care of yourself and come to senses soon, whose point can be understood by Natalie. And she immediately started coming to her senses, but then suddenly her own hair starts going into her mouth. But both the fathers hold those hairs, when the head father starts reciting words with his magical spells, with which Natalie immediately regains consciousness, and they pulls out her hair, who was caught by a devilish hand, and the devil was inside her. After some time both the fathers are talking to each other, because all three had become very good friends. One of them father says that Anne's method worked, because somewhere Natalie was in possession who listened to Anne, and started trying to regain consciousness. Saying this he starts telling about his sister, that my sister got married. When her child was about to be born, she lost that child, in which my sister is also at fault somewhere, because of which she remains in shock and embarrassment all the time. And I am very upset because of her. And then at night Anne has a nightmare, in which her mother was scaring her, due to which Anne got very upset. After this she goes to Natalie, and asks how are you feeling now, to which Natalie tells that, I had a dream in which I saw where there were many people, and there all the people were shouting, and at the same time a sound is also heard. They was also showing me very scary things. They was scaring me a lot, and would tell me to do as those people were doing. And Anne, I saw you there too, there you were screaming too. Anne, again gets upset after hearing that. Then after this she is making her notes. What does a person feel when he is possessed? What happens to him after all? And with the help of the father who was her friend, she takes all the files which were not allowed to be seen, from which she comes to know that the condition of many people becomes serious after being possessed. Then they are sent to exorcism school, but even here they are unable to recover and died. Knowing this, Anne gets very upset, because Natalie's condition was getting worse day by day. Then she gets an interview of a girl who survived the possession, in which she tells that I was survived, but I had done a lot of wrong with myself in possession. Means she had harmed herself, and even spoiled her face. I took such a step because the devil was inside me. The one who had possessed me made me realize my sins and shame, and even today I am living in the same shame. Now we are shown a scene where Anne's mother is in possession, and is trying to attack her, but suddenly his mother took her own life. Then Anne comes to the head father, and tells him that at the time of possession, the devil uses the shame and sins of that person, and when that person breaks completely on his shame and sins, then that person takes possession of him. By doing this he wins, and then the possessed person will die wherever he is sent, because the devil has already won. That's why during exorcism we have to strengthen those people from inside, so that they do not break from their shame and sins, because of which those people will be saved, and exorcism will be successful. Now the head father does not understand his words at all, and he had only one question here. After all, what shame and guilt would a 10-year-old girl feel, because children are innocent? Their mind is clear, then in Natalie's case is different, and how could the devil have possessed her? Now no one had the answer, but the reason for this was very big, about which we will come to know in a while. But now the father friend of Anne here had overheard Anne's words, and he tells her that my sister who lost her child, about whom I told you, that too has now become possessed, so you help her so that her life can be saved from that devil. On which she also agrees, and both of them come to that father's house, where Anne talks to his sister, and her brother begins the exorcism. So it is known that his sister also felt the shame and guilt of losing her child, and she was very sad too, and the devil is troubling her by using all these things. Anne handles her and says you are absolutely fine, and even in the eyes of God you are pure and not wrong, and he still loves you. His sister becomes happy after hearing these things, due to which they are winning, and seeing himself defeated, the devil gets angry, and now he attacks them with the surrounding things. But by now his sister had stopped thinking wrong about herself, because of which she was completely cured, seeing which all three of them become very happy, because by doing this they have saved the first life. And then Anne and her father friend were sitting outside talking. Anne tells him about herself now, that after the death of my mother, I became completely alone, after which a very rich family adopted me. And then when I was 15 I got drunk addicted, and I started walking in the wrong way. I don't know what happened to me after that, I don't remember, but I got pregnant, which means I was about to become a mother, due to which many difficulties came in my life. Because of this act of mine, that family had thrown me out of the house, after which the nuns and sisters supported me, and it was there that my daughter was born, and I didn't want to take care of her. Then I left my baby girl with a sad heart, and the same nuns adopted her, after which I also decided that I will also become a nun like them, and I will also do the work of humanity. While leaving my baby girl, I had left a locket with her, which was of the cross, which has been with me since childhood, because this locket was given to me by my mother, and since then I am praying for it. May God forgive me for my actions. The father who listens says that I think that God has forgiven you, because many times I have seen a glimpse of this in you. After this, when Anne was in her room, she started thinking of her mother. After that, some sharp thing comes out of her eyes, due to which she gets a little upset. The very next moment we see her mother's spirit standing by her side. After some time the head nun comes to call her, who brings her to the senior priest, where her father friend was also sitting. And now there they come to know that the sister of that father, on whom they had performed exorcism, has been died, because she took his own life. Then all the people over there were very angry on Anne and that father, that after all you had done exorcism by asking whom. Now Anne was very sad about her death, so she herself tells her punishment, that I should be sent back to the same church from where I came, because I know this mistake is very big, and it's not worth forgiving. Then when she comes to that big church, that doctor comes to meet her, and while encouraging her, says that you are a good person. Sometimes you try to save people's lives, because you are on a new path, and don't be afraid of your failure. And the exorcism on Natalie is successful. She is completely fine, and she will leave tomorrow with her mother. Anne becomes very happy after hearing that. Now the next day his father friend comes to meet her, and tells her that Natalie was supposed to be taken to her house, but she was possessed again, and this time her possession had increased to a great extent, and she killed 3 people, in which the priests and nuns were involved. Then he gives her the cross locket, and says that in the condition of possession, Natalie had said that I should deliver this cross to you. Now looking at this cross locket, Anne understands that it is the same locket which I had given to my daughter when I left her. Means Natalie is none other than my daughter. And now we come to know here that why the devil did not find any shame in that girl, because he didn't want that girl, but he just wanted to reach Anne through her, and wanted to torture her by the name of Natalie, and weaken her. Knowing this, she immediately sets out with that father to save Natalie, because she is her daughter as well as a child, and she doesn't want to let anything happen to her. On the other hand, Natalie is brought to a secret location, where exorcism was going on her, and this was the place where witchcraft and exorcisms were done from the time of 1835 onwards. There were some priests with one father, those who were chanting on Natalie, which was not affecting her at all. Now Anne comes there in no time, and just the devil's plan was successful, because that's what he wanted, and then suddenly all his evil power comes inside her, using which he first attacks the priests, and using his powers he throws away all the priests, due to which all the priests are killed. Now Anne goes to her and tries to talk to Natalie, but here the devil was talking to her. Here the devil asks, why did you leave your daughter? Don't hide this, tell this to everyone. Now here we find out why Anne's mother took her own life. She did this because this devil could not reach Anne. Actually she sacrificed herself to save his daughter, because as I told you, Anne is special, and she had also left her daughter so that she could be safe, because she knew that this voice means that this devil will follow her whole family. But the devil kept following her, and today the devil came in front of her, and now here Anne wanted to save her daughter's life, just like her mother. She asks the devil to come inside her. The very next moment the devil enters and possesses her. Seeing this, her father starts running away with Natalie to save her life, but all the doors here close automatically. That's why she goes out to a small place and father tells her to keep quiet. Now Anne, who was not in senses because she was possessed, is about to kill her own daughter, but father tries to stop her, but she had already come out. She catches Natalie and starts drowning her in a pond. Now it was not any common water but holy water, and here Anne is completely possessed while father is locked inside. So who will come here to save Natalie? So her grandmother comes here to save her, means Anne's mother. She was always with her, because she was protecting her. Now here Anne starts coming out of possession little by little. She starts remembering all the good times of her family and her mother, as well as the people who sacrificed their lives to save Anne. And now taking courage from them, she starts fighting with the devil. Now slowly, she starts inserting that cross locket on her head, and jumps into that holy water pond. And now by taking bath with holy water all her sins were over. That's why the devil goes from inside her. Now in the next scene, we see Anne here in the hospital, to whom Natalie comes to meet her, but she would not have told Natalie the truth that I am your mother. Anne did this so that Natalie could be happy. Here Natalie leaves after thanking her, and then here comes Natalie back to the exorcism school. Everyone was very happy because of how she saved everyone's life, and defeated the devil without worrying about her own life. Then the senior priest tells her that now you too will learn exorcism and will be useful to the people. And for the first time this record will be made that a woman also saves people's lives by doing exorcism exorcism. Anne becomes happy after hearing that, due to which everyone was very happy. Then the head father also encourages her and says that I am also very happy with you. Always keep moving forward and be successful. Along with this, he also warns her to be careful, because if you have known the devil, then the devil must have known you too. And next time he will do the trick in a different way. He still won't stop following you. After listening to his words and telling him to follow it, she immediately leaves from here. But when she was in the car, she sees a possessed woman. Apart from this, the driver of this vehicle also suddenly becomes possessed. Actually all these were the accomplices of Devil. Devil had sent them from hell to stop Anne. Then Anne also takes out her cross and gets ready to stop them. And there all the possessed people attack them. Now here let me tell you one thing. Before that, like the video and subscribe the channel. Here the name of this movie is Pray for the Devil, which is pray. It was not a worshipper but a hunter. And the prey of the devil in this story was none other than Anne and her mother and her daughter, because all three were chosen by God. And here was the movie, Pray for the Devil.